Yes, it's just outrageous. And what he has done, his administration has done, is try to impose a gag rule on this country. And a gag rule is literally that. Reagan tried it back in 1990, and it actually, when was it? Did I get the date?
It took off in 1981.
Okay, so it was then. No, he didn't pass it right then.
No, it was later.
Towards
It
the
was
end of
second-
his, in his second term. And I'm hoping that it was his Alzheimer's that allowed him to even go down that road.
Must have had it a long time.
Yeah, he did, but it was, it actually went through. It actually was deemed legal, but it never went into effect, and then, Bush came in, and it never was put into effect, Bush 1. Bush 2, we thought Bush 2 would try and impose this gag rule again, and a gag rule is exactly what that says. That anybody who provides an abortion, who provides information about where to have an abortion, or to counsel people about their options for abortion, to do anything related to abortion, and again, including providing it, cannot receive any federal dollars. Now, what you know is that what they've been very devious about this, of course, and Trump administration has tried to tether organizations like Planned Parenthood that provide abortion to Title X. Title X is the nation's family planning program that provides 4 million people across this country with free or low-cost family planning care. This law, I'm going to go back a step for a minute. This law, and I only have a few minutes, I know, so stop me. Do a thing. And almost, okay. I'm sorry. I can't, I have sciatica and I can't bend over. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Thanks, Joe. So, the gag rule and what's happening now. I won't go into the backstory. But so the Trump administration has imposed one now. He is saying right now that any organization, and these guidelines are out there in the ether, they are waiting to be passed. They were released 2 months ago. Comments have been happened. The final guidelines have been released, and it's now. Of course, we immediately tried. We said we put teams together, legal teams together, and we filed lawsuits. Planned Parenthood and the AMA filed lawsuits in Oregon, which is a very liberal district court, and to have an injunction filed against this terribly invasive law that says, again, that if you provide abortions, if you refer people to abortions or counsel people for abortions, that you may not receive federal dollars. And they're tethered that to the Title X dollars, which we depend upon to provide the free or low-cost family planning services to our patients. So we are asking you tonight to sign a petition to end the gag rule and to give people support. So the people that the AMA, the Planned Parenthood, the people on the courts, to say, no, we don't want this. We do not want this gag rule to go into place. It is definitely illegal. It is. I mean, we are so confident. Would you agree that we should be confident that it's illegal?
Yeah, I mean, from a First Amendment point of view, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
and also, but it was deemed legal all those years ago, and things have changed since then. So I'm hoping that stays in place.
Well, it's like when the IRS was giving 501c3 statuses to certain organizations against other and not to other organizations. I think that brought a lot of this sort of thing to the light, and that streamlined the process of getting 501c3 based on political affiliations.
Okay, so that's a positive. But meanwhile, we have all these states passing their own abortion laws, and we need to make sure that New York will remain a safe haven, but we need it to truly become a sanctuary state, and that's extraordinarily important, so that women in other parts of the country know that they can come to New York. And we're working right now to we're developing plans. All of us are all the Planned Parenthoods across the country, regardless of whether they're in a red or blue state. So whether they're in California, in Illinois, in New York, and we're really trying, basically in the upper right-hand quadrant of the country and the left-hand side, and that little tiny bit of Illinois in the middle. We're all working, but all of us across the country are working to develop plans where we can ensure that women know that they can come to New York or another sanctuary state, that we will help them get there. We'll have a hotline of some sort that will allow people to call, and we will say, where do you want to go? Where are you? We will hopefully generate funds that will allow women to travel and pay for their abortions. And in New York, we are, if needed, we would build another health center on the Queens-Nassau border, right near JFK, so women could just fly right in there. We'll probably open another health center on the border of one of our New York State affiliates in Pennsylvania, because women are already coming to New York for abortions because of the restrictions in Pennsylvania. I mean, the restrictions are so onerous, and it's amazing. Anyway, so we have two things. We have a petition here, correct? So we're going to ask you to, is this right, Sarah?
Yep, petition,
Okay, so
and
this is
some
the
maps
petition.
here if anybody's
And
interested.
so, oh yes, I want to show you very quickly. This is the United States of America, and this is the disparate states of America. So we have them for you, but this, so you see the red states, but this is post Roe. This is if Roe were to be overturned.
That's pink, not red.
Oh, pink, I'm sorry, pink, pink, our pink, Planned Parenthood pink, Planned Parenthood pink. And then you see all this,
Oh, yeah.
that's where abortion will be outlawed. We're talking about the majority of the states in this country. It's simply, it's unbelievable when, as Chuck said, and as everybody, this is a personal decision that needs to be made by a woman with her doctor, with her family, with whatever she prefers. It's her decision, and we need to have autonomy over our bodies. I love what Ruth Ginsburg said, and we all have to protect her, by the way.
Oh,
Make sure
yeah.
that she stays healthy and safe. We're also asking you to stand with Planned Parenthood, and if you do sign this, we will send you a lot of emails. But you don't have to look at them, but just push the button. It won't obligate you to anything. It just says, I stand with Planned Parenthood. And what else do you want? We
The
want
petition.
petitions for, again, to oppose the gag rule. It's imperative.
We're going to court at the end of April.
Yes, and we will know by May 2nd.
Right.
The injunction, the decision will be made by May 2nd. In theory, it's supposed to go into effect on May 4, if there is no injunction. So we hope to hear, we will hear by then. If we don't get a stay or an injunction, there are many states and many Planned Parenthoods which will have to stop providing abortions immediately. And that would be horrific for the women who are there to...
Can you explain that, JoAnn? Like, what is the Title $10?
Well, again, the title,
go?
what he has done, what the Trump administration has done is tether federal dollars that we receive through Title 10 to this gag rule. So saying that any organization that provides abortion services may not receive federal dollars, which are Title 10 dollars. I will go back into it. This was the nation's family planning program that was founded by Richard Nixon and approved by Richard Nixon in 1970. Yes, he thought, and George Bush the first, basically, he didn't say it, quite these words. He said it's the best thing since sliced bread. And it provides free or low-cost family planning services. But it never, ever has and never will provide funding for abortion. So they're putting two things together that have never been together. They're conflating or making people assume that, that we are using, like Planned Parenthood in Nassau County, we receive Title $10, federal dollars, to provide free or low-cost family planning services. Well woman exams, STI testing, HIV testing, pap smears, breast exams, birth control. That's it. No, absolutely no abortion. And that we are somehow using those funds to provide abortions. Not true. We have a wall between us about that. And they are making the public think that Planned Parenthoods are just obfuscating the funding, and that our funding, they accuse us that say it's all fungible, and that if you get it here, you can use it over there. It's not true. It doesn't happen. So they are conflating these two things and tying them together. And so what will happen on May 4, if indeed there is not an injunction, it won't happen in New York, but people will not be able to, our Planned Parenthoods will not be able to provide abortions.
But wouldn't it also happen in New York because you wouldn't get federal funding here either?
We do get federal funding here. We do. We
But I
receive federal
mean,
funding.
if-
So we have made promises that regardless of what happens, that our doors will always stay open.
Oh, so even if you don't get
Yes,
the federal
and
funding?
some organizations are actually dependent upon Title $10. We are too. It's not that we don't need them, but so whatever we have to do, we will make certain that our doors remain open for our patients, that we will never not provide services. But there will be women who will have scheduled abortions that day, and so it could affect. It could be a week or so for months for Planned Parenthood to figure out what they're going to do and how to abide by the law and still provide services. And that will take time. Planned Parenthood Federation of America has developed a fund to help affiliates who will not be able to provide services because they will have lost this Title X funding, which is so critical to the family planning services. And because we have also said we will never, ever, ever accept gag money. Ever, ever, ever. And so therefore we can't take the money. We will continue to provide abortion services, but how do we fund the provision of services for everybody else? That's why it's so important.
Yeah, the argument I have heard is just what you said, that federal money comes down and you can do it anything you want, and of course, you're giving abortions.
Correct.
Okay, now I understand what you're saying, and I believe that. But
Good.
who is funding the abortion? I mean, if
The individuals or the insurance companies.
Okay, that's what I needed to know, because
Absolutely.
I didn't have an
Our
argument
donations.
against that.
Yes.
Our donations to
Or,
Planned
yes, I mean, we do
Okay.
have, if
Support
women,
that.
Yeah.
yes, if women can't afford an abortion, we will provide it for free. Money is never an issue for women coming to Planned Parenthood for services,
And we
ever.
have separate books.
Pardon me?
We have separate books.
Oh, we have separate, staff have to go in and out on different time clocks. Everything is separate. The rooms have to be kept separate. We do all that to ensure that we do not, and we've had a Title X review. The state has come in to do a review of our Title X funds, and we pass with flying colors. We have never, ever, ever had an issue, and that's true of all of our Title X centers across the country. So there is what women, we have, and I have learned this over the years. I've been at Planned Parenthood now for 21 years, 21 years this year. And, yeah, not as long as Betsy, but,
Please.
and Jen started the year before me, before I did, Sarah, right with me. But,
And we love Saskia too.
oh, we love her. Saskia knew we adore her. What I have seen over the years, and we know this, because we have a prenatal program at Planned Parenthood as well. And we know that women will do, if they want to have a baby, they will do everything possible to have that baby. They will lie in bed for the entire pregnancy to ensure a healthy baby. They will go through, they'll spend tens of thousands of dollars on treatments in order to get pregnant. They will do anything to have a baby. And the same is true for women who do not want to have a baby. They will do anything to ensure that that pregnancy is terminated. Okay, now Saskia is giving me
You don't like me anymore.
Anyway, I just want to thank you for coming. Please sign our petition. Please stand with us always as you have. You are, the fact that you're here tonight is just so inspiring, and I'm grateful, and I thank you for all
I think
you
we're gonna
do.
do a little Q&A.
Oh, we are, okay. I'm not leaving
Yes,
yet. Okay.
yes, so thank you very much. Yeah, I would encourage anybody who hasn't signed the petition to please do so after our little
And your mailing
Q&A. And Roy also has a mailing list here. We do a publication called the Sidebar, which is our firm newsletter. All of our articles in the newsletter are written in-house. They're not canned articles, so we usually try to make them interesting and informative. If anybody would like to receive future copies of that, please sign the sign-in sheet. So maybe I'll ask Chuck and Peter to come up to the front, and if anybody has any questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
I have a question for Chuck.
They're bad people.
So this is an action fund event, so I think I can ask this question without breaking any firewalls. I'm terrified we're gonna lose the Senate in 2020, the New York State Senate.
I don't think so.
Okay, I want Chuck to tell me it's gonna be okay.
Sarah, you and I both went to Wisconsin, so we, along with Ronnie, we understand that there's a dark side to everything. But all we can do is fight. That's it. And we fought last time, and we'll continue to fight. And we'll do everything we can to support the senators. I will say this, that Long Island now is critical because we have 6 members of the Senate who are Democrats. And there are people on the very far left of our party who have now joined with the very far right of the other party to make life miserable for those senators. So I think all we can do is we have to stick up for what's right. And this will always be a battle, always be a battle. It'll be a battle in 2 years when there's a presidential election, which hopefully will help those of us who believe in what's right. And we have to commit ourselves to continuing to fight. Those of us who are on the more liberal side, it seems to me, always think that isn't it obvious that we should have an enlightened view of humanity? Well, the other side doesn't believe that. They want what they want, and they will fight to the ends of the earth. We have to be prepared not to be complacent because we have been complacent in the past. So we fight.
And we get out and vote.
Yes, and we can vote early.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's what, can we vote, can we start to vote now?
When we were pushing for early voting, I almost thought we should have a provision for late voting. Even a year or
better.
two
Yes,
after a
yes.
presidential
Have
election.
voter
But,
remorse, yes.
Yeah, no, I couldn't get that bill through.
But voting, I think it's one of the, that is it's a privilege and it's a right, and we need to exercise it every day
Yes.
that we can.
I have a question about the voting. Are they gonna publicize, like, what days are early voting, where you could go, all
Yes.
that kind?
Yes, we'll still get those cards in the mail telling us when to vote and where to vote.
Oh,
Yes.
so that'll have all the early
Yes.
voting
Yes.
information and everything? Okay.
Who gets to call on these people? Go ahead.
Barbara?
Hey. Would you clarify, please? I understand if Title
10?
10 is really about abortion,
No, it's about having
about
voting.
contraception and
It
so
is.
forth. What about general health things? Why in these states do Planned Parenthood have to close when there's so many people who really just need health attention?
Because it's a funding issue. It's all a matter of whether they have the money to stay open or not. That's what it comes down to,
Because people don't
unfortunately.
associate it
Not the one thing, only the other.
Right, right.
Yes, I have two questions actually. Laws are laws and they're on books. But when a particular party gets in power, all of a sudden they have the power to remove those laws. I mean, how far up can we go? Can we change the Constitution line by line? I mean, how does this really work? We have the gender bill, of course, I'm well into that thing. I've been doing this for 16 years, and we finally got it. But who's to say if we got a Republican Congress up in New York, we don't want it anymore, and away we go. We start all over again.
It's sad that we have to label the Republican Party as being against
That's true.
women's rights, because it was a Republican administration
Correct.
Right.
with Governor Rockefeller, who really ushered in the abortion law back in 1970. And I guess it was at least about 20 years after that before abortion started to become the litmus test for who was pure and who was not pure. We all pay a price for that. There are Republicans in the Assembly who I know and I like and I trust. I know they will vote against a woman's right, but I know that if they had their own ability to do what they want, they would vote for a woman's right. They can't. They'll be kicked out of office.
Right.
There are others who are vicious anti-abortionists. I will rarely even give them the time of day or even look at them. But be that as it may, the point you make is accurate. Elections matter. And they matter now more than ever, especially with the president and an administration that will pull out any and every stop. There's no restraint on them.
Yeah.
So we have to continue to
My
fight.
last question is redistricting.
Yes.
Exactly,
here in New
it's
York.
such an important,
Yeah.
so important.
Is that going to change? Or is the process going to change? What do you think?
I don't,
Census.
Right.
yes. I don't think the redistricting will change in New York. So this is kind of glass half full or glass half empty. One of the reasons we were able to take back the Senate, and one of the reasons that we have on any given day 107 Democrats out of the 150 in the Assembly, is because of apportionment being the way it is. So I don't think it's going to change in the near future, unless the Supreme Court decides to enter into some of the cases that are pending right now dealing with unfair districting. But I don't think we know the answer to that.
Yeah, that's a hot topic for them to touch.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I'm a poll inspector. Every time I have to go down there, and I just been doing that for years.
Thank you.
My
by the way.
particular, you're welcome, because it's a long day.
It is.
A very long day.
And now it's gonna be more often.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
In my district,
Right.
there's 2 houses, and that's it.
What?
2 houses, 2 individual houses, 5 people on my book. We get farmed out to the other districts because they got hundreds, just to help them out. And I wonder,
How
there's
crazy is
$1,000 sitting at that table, just sitting there legally, because they told me to, District
Yes, that
220,
happens.
never forget that one, and there's 2 houses. And I say, who made this out? This is ridiculous,
Wow,
5
that's
people, and they never come.
Wow.
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 I've complained and complained and complained. I don't wanna get myself out of a job because it's, nice free money. But, I mean, give me a break, there's
My,
a district right across the street, 168, I think.
My predecessor in redistricting back in 2000 cut someone's house out of his district. District was identical, except an activist's home was removed from his
Oh,
district.
wow.
Wow.
But that helped me tremendously when I ran against him in a primary. So it happens.
Yeah.
It does happen, sadly.
Crazy,
So that's
crazy,
not right.
It's crazy.
Do you know when they're gonna be hearing the case about the gag rule?
Well,
I
it's
do know.
it's going to start, probably not until April.
It's,
at the end
I
of
think
April.
it's, I don't hold me to this exact, it's the end of April, I think it's the 28th.
Yeah.
So it's really close to that date.
Yes.
Well, they're doing that purposely. They're gonna keep us on tenterhooks until literally 2 days before. And so we know that we will have a ruling by the 2nd, and that's been stated up front. We need to have a ruling before this could go into effect. And I don't think that could be.
But It's not just us. There are like attorney generals, Tish James,
Right.
our attorney general, has filed lawsuits
So each
against this.
state is having their own case?
No,
No,
but
no, no.
but
It's all
there are,
one-
it's not just Planned Parenthood and the
It's
AMA,
21
it's
21 state
attorney
attorney
generals,
But
there's,
they've added
yeah,
amicus briefs
Right.
onto
right.
the briefs of the AMA and Planned Parenthood suit, and onto the, there's another organization that we work with, called NEFRA, which is all about family planning. This bill has the potential, or these guidelines, of truly, taking away health care from the most vulnerable, for those who need it the most. And, we have, again, we have pledged and made a promise to our patients that we will always keep our doors open. And I thank all of you who have made contributions to Planned Parenthood to help that happen. But other states may not be in that position. So, once Title $10 go, it's going to be problematic. But I want to continue to finish one last thing about who pays for abortions. So, basically, women will do anything, and if they want to have an abortion, they will get that money together. They will find it. They will give up their Starbucks. They will do whatever they need to find that money. But most insurance plans cover it, number one. And in New York, and there are 16 other states that actually allow state dollars to provide abortions for women who would be Medicaid eligible.
Oh,
Yes, so women in New York and in 16 other states have that privilege, but it's not everywhere. And so women in New York and those 16 other states are fortunate, but that's how it gets paid for. And I'll be very frank with you, when you look at our financials, which I do every month, and we always run in the red with our family planning services, for which we get the federal dollars for that and the state dollars, and our abortion services fund our family planning
It
services.
actually goes the other way.
It does. We always run in the black because it gets paid for, and gets paid for at the price that it should be.
Yeah.
So that abortion service funds our family planning.
wow, that's funny.
JoAnn,
Yes.
there are many young gay men in the world today who are having unprotected sex.
Yes.
And whenever I happen to be in a conversation, I always direct them towards your organization. Can you tell us?
I would love to. We have a very strong program for men. First of all, people in this country, around the country, trust Planned Parenthood. And women have always trusted Planned Parenthood, and men have now found out that they too can trust Planned Parenthood. And so whether they're coming in for an STI test, a sexually transmitted infection test, and we will also provide treatment, or testing for HIV, they know that they can come to Planned Parenthood for compassionate and definitely confidential care. Recently, so we have a lot of men who come to us for HIV testing, and we now are also offering PrEP, which is similar to the birth control for women. You take it on a daily basis, men can, and it actually prevents the onset of HIV. It's a remarkable drug. People have to be faithful to it, just as you do with birth control. You can't stop it, and there's sort of rules around it. You have to come in every 3 weeks to meet with your advisor, your counselor. It's a phenomenal program, and we hope to also provide PEP this year. And PEP is like the morning after pill, that if you have had unprotected sex and you realize the next day, oh my God, I might have been infected, then you can take PEP, which will also prevent
PrEP is
HIV.
pre-exposure.
Pardon me?
PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis, and PEP is post-exposure.
Correct. So
We
it's
left some
birth
information
control
about it.
versus the morning
That's
after,
right.
morning after pill. So we are, we have let's see, we have, individual patients. In Planned Parenthood, we provide about 27,000 patient visits in our 3 sites. Of those, we have 14,000 individual patients. And I think of that, we have, I actually don't know the percentage of men, but it's about 12%, I think, of men are our patients. Yes, so it's just, we're proud to do that. We also offer, men can come in, and also we have wonderful sex ed programs. Years ago, we had one of our male educators found out after one of his classes where he had been talking to boys in high school about the importance of self-exams and of really examining their testicles for any lumps or bumps or things like that. And he learned from the teacher that one kid went home that night, probably did it all the time, but didn't really know what he was looking for. But but he found out that he had a lump, and with that knowledge, he went to a doctor, and testicular cancer was prevented.
Wow.
Now, how amazing is that?
Detected.
It was detected, but
Right.
with that, he went to a doctor,
Right.
and therefore it was prevented. So these are important. These are important things that Planned Parenthood does, and this gag rule. Again, the Title X funding does that kind of that provides funding for those services as well. Those are all at risk with these guidelines. Somebody said, well, they don't want abortion, they don't want birth control. What do they want? Well, I think they want chastity belts for women, but it's a terrible. Don't you agree?
They're very preoccupied with women's reproductive organs.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, I think what they want is to go back to the time when women stayed home and millions of children and couldn't work.
Yes.
Because they know when the women become in charge and take over, they're in big trouble.
That's true. I would agree.
Except for people like you.
Exactly. But we
Because
are
you'll
so proud.
always be
We're
wrong.
proud to be able to offer services for men and women and transgender individuals as well. We do not provide hormonal care at the moment, but we will be doing that by next year.
Wow,
Excellent.
Yes, which is very important. Everyone deserves the health care that they need, not what they can afford. And so we're going to be doing that next year.
And just on that note, by the way, I'm a Vietnam vet. I get
Oh,
all
wow.
my medical procedures and whatnot at the VA here in Northport,
That's wonderful.
and they give me my drugs. I was deathly afraid when they said, there was no more transgender people in the military. And I asked, I said, well, how far does that go down? I'm certainly not in the military anymore. And they said, don't worry about it, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, that's
Now,
Thank
those
God.
those poor people in the military who
Absolutely.
have
It's
20
it's
years
outrageous.
worth of
It's outrageous.
defending that slob that's down in
Exactly.
Washington.
You're so right.
It didn't go through though,
It's
did it?
amazing.
It's
Absolutely
outrageous.
amazing.
Outrageous.
He's killing everybody.
Yes, he is. But everything that we hold dear, all the freedoms we hold dear are at stake. And that's why, again, I'm going to go back to voting, and getting everybody out to do that.
I just wanted to ask you, would it be possible for you to ask Amazon for donations?
You know, it's interesting. They do have charities listed there where you can raise funds for your charities on Amazon. We are not. It's something we're going to look into. Yes.
I mean, because if you have,
and we
they
know
got
that
plenty of
Jeff
money.
Bezos is a supporter. He is a supporter.
Oh, that's great.
Amazon.
Are you talking about like a designated charity?
Buy something.
But like you
It's
will
called, it's called Amazon Smile.
They have
Don't have
charities.
money for
Yeah.
the,
But they actually
For
have
the
charities that you
healthcare.
can set up.
if
things
Amazon
that
has
give money
loads
to.
of money.
But you're
I
right.
mean,
you do
please.
smile. But you're right. Let me just tell you
Amazon
something
Smile.
else that
My
people
church
can
does it all
do.
the time.
If
Every time I go
you,
to something,
we do have, there's Amazon Smile. And if you sign up that way, thank you, Betsy, for saying that if you go through Amazon Smile and choose Planned Parenthood as your charity, what do we get, Jen?
A small percentage, and it does add up, all the little
Yes.
pieces.
So you mean when you buy something from
go to
Amazon, you go to
Smile,
You go to
Amazon?
Amazon.
Amazon,
choose it.
instead of going to
Oh.
Amazon.com, you go to Amazon.smile. And then the first time you do it, they'll ask you what organization,
put Planned Parenthood in Nassau County, and then we get a
Oh,
percentage.
So
okay,
definitely do that.
okay.
And you had a question?
Chuck,
if- sorry, just one
if I may, any updates on the Gender Recognition Act, the X marker?
We're gonna start to discuss that in the Democratic Conference. But I don't wanna mislead you. It's not going to be easy. Anytime we talk about chromosomes,
Right.
it's a little complicated for some of my colleagues.
What is
But
that,
we will
just to
push for
choose
that.
which gender
Yes.
on a form or
Yes.
something?
Yes,
Okay.
and it makes it that much easier, from what I understand,
Yeah.
to change your gender
Yes,
marker.
Oh.
advocates have, this was the first week, I had advocates, speaking about that, which is a
Oh,
good,
that's good.
which is a good
That's
sign,
good.
which is a
That's
good.
very good.
We'll get there, we'll get there.
And one question.
Yes, I have a question about PrEP. I've read articles about how expensive it is, so how does Planned Parenthood administer it?
It's reimbursable. We actually, Medicaid will cover it, and so we get reimbursed for it. We can give an individual a script also to go to their pharmacy. Can you talk about it, Ronnie?
I have, I've not been in that
Okay.
particular
Well,
circle.
no, so it is covered. We were, it is expensive, but so is, what's really interesting, so is inserting a long-acting reversible contraceptive, which is known as a LARC, so that a woman can ensure that for 3 to 12 years even, that she will not get pregnant. And it's the most effective form of birth control. Very expensive. It's very, but we are also able, because we are a Title X organization, it gets really complicated, but because we're Title X, we have the luxury of getting discounted pharmaceuticals. And that was put into place under a ruling called 340B. We become a 340B organization. We can buy pharmaceuticals, PrEP, LARCs, at a steeply discounted price, and we pass that along to our
Oh,
patients.
that's wonderful.
But if you don't have that Title X designation, you don't get that.
Oh,
So they have managed to jeopardize the lives of 4 million people around this country with these guidelines that have been put out. So sign our petitions, stand with us, come to Joe for any information about all these areas, which are so important, especially as trust and estate, and charitable bequest management, excellent. And
There you go.
exactly.
We can work together.
Exactly, we can. And LGBT representation and elder law, all these things are very important. So come to this firm. I love the logo. It's fabulous.
Thank you.
But come to this firm for that kind of services. And call on Peter if you need con law advice.
Or title insurance.
And title insurance.
That's what pays the bills.
And I'm gonna say this right now, vote for Chuck.
And let me just very briefly.
I wish I could.
Well, you can always write me in. Many thanks to Planned Parenthood. Many thanks to you, Joe, and this wonderful law firm, and Peter, many thanks. One of the items on the agenda for discussion was there any blowback to the Reproductive Health Care Act?
Oh, no.
So I was in my office today, and I got a handwritten letter from someone. And it starts out, "Dear Mr. Lavine, you are no good. You commit infanticide." Now, as if that's not bad enough, he continues to say, "And you're a goddamn socialist because you outlawed plastic bags." So this is what we need to work with. That's true.
That was also great.
Keep it up, keep it up.
Thank you all.
Please feel free to help yourselves to more wine and food, cookies.
Yes, I was on steroids.